Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Today, I want to talk about your mindset around selling your VA services. Today's quote is from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. And I think this one perfectly sums up how so many VAs stay stuck despite having all the potential in the world. You can, but you also think you can't. Thanks, Henry. Let's go. Mindset isn't just some fluffy concept reserved for self-help books, vision boards, and all that kind of woohoo stuff, is it? It's the foundation of your business, your beliefs, your self-talk, and your expectations. These are the things that shape your actions every single day. And in turn, your actions determine the results that you get. In this episode, I want to talk about the one mindset shift that I think every VA needs to make in order to grow a truly successful VA business. It's not just a side hustle, it's not just a little bit of extra income, but a sustainable, fulfilling, profitable, well-paying VA business that you're proud to run. Let me begin with a quick story. I worked with a VA once who really did have it all together. She had figured out that her services were XYZ. She had set rates that made sense. She created packages that were appealing. She published her website. It looked so nice. And she really knew how she could help her clients. But she couldn't put herself out there. She was paralyzed in, networking and getting herself in front of people. She was such a strong background force for her former employers. Like, she did a bang up job with everything she needed to do for her business, except for one thing. She couldn't talk about herself. And like I said, she became totally paralyzed when it came to talking about how good she was at what she did. That mindset comes with thinking that you have to sell yourself. At least in my experience, that's what I see. We worked together as I was her coach, and I helped her realize that she didn't have to sell anything at all. I tell you guys this all the time. She just had to find the people that she could help and become a part of their community, and then genuinely help them in that community. It's a big shift, and it's one that often requires support because we're doing something that we've never done before, and we're feeling like we don't belong or we don't fit in or we're not the ones that should be offering the help and support, right? There's always somebody better. I help a lot of VAs with their mindset, and most of the time you don't even realize that you're stuck until we start talking it through. Just sometimes takes saying the words. And most of the VAs I work with already have the knowledge. They've taken the courses, the training, they've learned the tech, they've even started putting themselves out there, but maybe they're not doing it quite right. They're playing small. They second guess everything. Don't we? Don't you? I do. I know I still do. And they hold back from things like raising their rates. They hesitate to pitch themselves or to even talk about themselves, to post content, to set the proper boundaries for a business that runs well. And when you dig into the why, they always say something like, I don't feel ready, or I'm afraid I'll lose the client, or who's going to hire somebody to do this, We all think that everybody can do everything that we know how to do. Why wouldn't they know how? We know how. But the truth is, it's never really about the tools or the systems or even your marketing. Those things are important, yes, but they only work when your mindset is aligned with growth. You have to believe that you deserve success before you actually take the actions that are going to create it. I'm going to say that again in case you missed it. You have to believe that you deserve success before you'll actually take the actions that create it, right? The belief system is difficult because we're like, I've never experienced this before. How do I know this is going to work? And that is often the thing that keeps us really stuck where we are. And so what is the mindset shift that I keep talking about? It's this. Stop thinking like an employee or even a freelancer and start thinking like a business owner, a real CEO of your business. When you first become a VA, it's normal to think like an employee. That's the environment we come from, the corporate environment and hierarchy and that type of thing. And that's what we're used to. You're used to being told what to do, how much you're being paid, what your schedule should look like, and whether or not you're performing well, right? Somebody's always been the one to tell us that. But when you start your own VA business, that doesn't happen anymore. That role doesn't exist. Well, it does, but you're the one in the driver's seat. You're the one making the decisions. You're the one deciding your pricing, your services, your hours, your boundaries, everything, the whole direction of your business. You're not applying for a job. You're offering a solution. You're not hoping to be picked. You're positioning yourself as a business owner who can solve a problem for the client. It might seem like a small distinction. You might go, oh, yeah, that makes sense, Tracy, but it changes everything to really believe it. Because here's what happens when you think like an employee or even a beginner freelancer. I don't know why we distinguish between freelancer and VA or contractor. I think we think it's freelancer seems to me like I'm just trying this out, just checking it out. But anyway, but here's what you do. You undercharge. You hesitate to set good rates or raise your rates, even when your work has clearly outgrown your pricing. You say yes to every client and every request, even when something doesn't feel right. You wait for permission for everything, to launch something, to show up more confidently, to call yourself an expert. What about that one? You doubt yourself constantly. You know you're good enough. Well, you know you can do this stuff, but you wonder if you're good enough. You wonder if others will think you're good enough. And you assume that other VAs know more than you. You downplay your business to friends and family, and maybe even to yourself. Have you ever done this one? I've done this one. Everybody's like, how's work? Your work is so interesting. I'm like, oh, it's nothing. It's just this. We downplay it because we don't want to pump ourselves up. That feels salesy, doesn't it? But when you shift into that CEO mindset, when you own the fact that you're running a business, things start to feel different. They certainly start to look different. You start setting boundaries. You begin to value your time and expertise. You see client work as collaboration, not applications to jobs. You talk about your business with pride, and you become selective about who you work with and how you work with them. And here's the reality. If you're still thinking like an employee, you're going to attract clients who want to treat you like one. They'll micromanage everything you do. They'll expect you to be on call, or at least be at their beck and call. They'll resist or try to negotiate your rates. They'll question your decisions, and they'll probably ask why or how far too often. And eventually, you'll burn out. Or worse, you'll quit altogether, believing that business ownership is just not for you. But if you shift your mindset first, if you truly begin to see yourself as a business owner, then you're going to show up differently, and your clients will respond to that energy. It's so true that what you put out there is mirrored back to you. Now let's talk about some signs that maybe you have not made this shift yet. If you're still charging hourly and constantly working just to break even, you might be stuck in a mindset of an employee. If you keep saying yes to clients who aren't a good fit or work that doesn't light you up because you're afraid of losing income, that's a huge clue. If you feel nervous every time you introduce yourself as a VA, oh my God, I've done this. If you struggle to talk about what you do with confidence, there's another sign. And if you're constantly researching and learning, but barely or rarely, implementing or promoting your offers, that's often mindset. And if you're waiting for someone to give you permission to charge more, to specialize, or to grow, to make changes in any way, then I'm really glad you're listening to this episode today. So, how do you actually make this mindset shift? First, you have to start making decisions like a business owner. That means asking yourself, what is best for my business? Not just what feels easiest or least scary in that particular moment. But if you've been undercharging, it might feel easier just to stay where you are, right? But what is best for the business? Raising your rates. So if you've been saying yes to every client, even the ones who are kind of red flags, it might be safer not to rock the boat, right? It might feel safer. But what's best for your business is to work with clients who value you and respect your boundaries. Second, I want you to start thinking in terms of value, not in time. This is like a huge shift for a lot of VAs I work with. Business owners don't get paid for the number of hours that they sit at their desk. They get paid for the results that they provide. So if you're constantly trying to justify every minute or track every hour, it might be time to reframe how you offer your services. You're not just a pair of hands. You're a partner, a strategist, and a contributor to your client's success. And that doesn't mean you all of a sudden have to, come off as a coach or even, calling yourself a strategist, but you are their partner. And it's really important to think about what are you doing for them and in their business that will allow their business to grow. Same as, you're thinking about your business, think about theirs. And the third is take control of the client conversations. And this is why I want to say, don't treat a discovery call like an interview. It's not an interview. A lot of VAs think of them as interviews where they have to prove themselves. And honestly, that is the ultimate employee mindset. It really is. When you're in the CEO mindset, you approach these calls as equals. You ask the questions. You assess whether a client is a good fit for you. You're not hoping to be chosen. I know I've said that a couple of times this episode. I really want you to write that down. You are not hoping to be chosen. You're deciding if this relationship makes sense on both sides. And last, invest like a business owner. That might mean investing in coaching, in training, or tools or systems that save you time or help you manage your time better and definitely help your business grow. Business owners don't wait until everything is perfect until they feel ready. They take calculated risks because they invest in the next level version of themselves even before they fully feel like that version yet. They say dress for the job that you want. That's the same concept here. And it doesn't mean you have to, don a power suit and be, selling yourself all over the place. It means understand that you are really, really good at what you do. And there are people out there who need your help and will value you and pay you to help them. And then lastly, what I want you to do is create daily habits to reinforce the mindset. It doesn't matter who you work with. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say. If you don't work on your mindset every single day, proving to yourself that you are amazing and that your clients are really lucky to work with you, then it goes away, right? You have to nurture that all the time. And so track your wins, even the small ones, so that you start to build confidence in your own results. What has happened in the last day, 2 days, week, month, whatever it is, that has been good, and refer to that often. It's really, really important. And practice saying no to things that don't align with your goals. Remind yourself every single day, I run a real business. I'm building something meaningful, and I make decisions that support the growth of my business and my client's business. Let me give you another quick example here. One of the VAs I coached was stuck in employee mindset. It's not her fault, but she was. She didn't feel confident setting her rates where she needed them to be. She settled into her discovery calls and she handled them like interviews, where the client asked the questions and then inevitably they nickeled and dimed her where money was concerned, and she didn't know how to handle it. It's like, I let the client take over the call and I couldn't get it back. So we need to work on not doing that, right? So we worked together on her mindset, of course, but we also set her up with the tools that she needed to shift everything. We calculated the rates that she needed to charge in her business. She could clearly see then how she needed to charge this many dollars because she wanted to pay herself this much and her expenses were that much. Here's what she needed to bring in to cover those things. And when she saw the numbers, then she knew why her rates were what they were. And it was much easier to talk to clients about. She didn't have to justify it. She didn't have to say, well, I pay for internet. She didn't have to say any of those things because she had the confidence behind, yep, this is what I need these people to pay. And it was clear as day instead of a number that she just picked out of thin air. We also looked at who she was connecting with. She had no real strategy for finding the clients that were suitable for her. And so she just kind of said yes to anybody who wanted to work with her. So we stopped that too. And finally, I worked with her to create a discovery call checklist that helped her be in charge of the calls and kept the client on topic as well to determine if they were a good fit. No more interviews. It was a discovery call from the perspective of the VA, and the VA was in charge. And these are the things I do to help VAs take charge of their own mindset and their own business. It changes everything when you start showing up differently. You do get results. You get clients. You get great clients. And when you make the shift, you attract better clients. You start to feel confident promoting your services. You stop underpricing and overworking, frankly. You begin to feel really proud of the business that you're building because it reflects you, your values, and your long-term goals. and you know why you're making the decisions that you are. And here's the best part. You don't even need a huge audience or perfect branding or a long list of services to make this shift. You can start today right where you are with one simple decision. So here's what I want you to do next. First, write down one belief that's been holding you back in your VA business. Something like, I'm not experienced enough to charge more, or I need to say yes to every client because I need the money to keep my business going. Or what's another belief that you could put in? Once you have that belief written down, I want you to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true? What could I think instead? What could I believe instead? It's a really important exercise to do. You have to be able to build up that kind of resilience in your own mind. And so when I tell you something, or when someone tells you something about how great you are, challenge it and say, what if this were not true? How could you make it true? I like that little exercise. And second, I want you to practice introducing yourself this week, not just as a VA, not someone just, seeing where this goes, trying it out, getting a side hustle, but as the as the confident business owner that you are. You don't need to fake anything. You are super qualified. Go back and listen to my other episodes. You're already qualified to be a ridiculously good VA, way, way, way in the beginning of this podcast. But you have the experience. You might not have the experience as a business owner, and you might be tripping up a few things, in terms of your mindset, your confidence, your pricing, your, networking, all those kinds of things, but those are fixable. You have the experience to do this, and you know that you can help someone with things that you know how to do. So I want you to start owning what you've already built. And finally, look at your current services. Are they aligned with the kind of business you want to run? If not, you don't have to change everything today, but take a small step and cut out a service, or change your rate, refine a package that you've previously defined, or just say no to something that you've outgrown. All of those things help you make minor little tweaks. They're little decisions that you can make and then really support in those discovery calls, right? If this episode resonated with you, this is the exact kind of work we do in my coaching programs. I help VAs just like you shift into that confident business owner mindset and combine that with practical strategies to attract clients, price your services, and grow sustainably. If that's something you know you need, reach out to me. I would love to support you. I'm here to help. You know that's the only reason I'm here at all, to help you become a ridiculously good VA. Remember, you don't have to wait until you feel confident to act like a business owner. Confidence comes from taking action, from showing up, and from deciding that you are done playing small. That shift starts with a choice, and you get to make that choice today. If I can help you, let me know. In the meantime, be sure to connect with me on your favorite social media platform. Find my links at yourvamentor.com/links. That's all I've got for you this time. I'm Tracy Daviero, the Confidence Coach for VAs, and I'll see you next time.